Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for being here Monday, January 12th. And have to keep saying it. Jaguars season, 2025 season, it's officially over. Fell to the Bills yesterday. Very disappointing end to the season for a lot of reasons. I know we talked about this yesterday, but I really felt like there was uncharacteristic mistakes from a lot of players in a lot of situations yesterday that led to some big plays for the Bills. The Bills made some great plays themselves. Josh Allen was tough as all get out, but some uncharacteristic mistakes, and I ultimately do think Liam Cohen was not sticking with the run consistently enough when the running game was where the Jaguars had a true advantage yesterday, consistently. So we'll continue talking about that game for sure. I did want to shift gears, have a little bit of fun. The NFL Draft Stock Exchange, which is a PFF NFL draft show, Trevor Sikkema and Connor Rogers, they do a great job. Really good show. They did a mock draft for the Jaguars. 3-round mock draft. And we're going to just talk about that one here today. Talk about who they drafted, all that good stuff. Really appreciate y'all tuning in here. If you enjoy the content, it's all Jags all the time. Please like and subscribe. You can also check out our website, genjag.com, and pick up some new Duval gear. Help support the channel, look good while doing it. We've got the hat like the one I'm wearing up there on the site. A lot of other fun stuff. So go check it out if you are so inclined. And yeah, let's dive into this mock draft. Really interesting stuff. The Jaguars, they have 4 picks right now in the first 3 rounds on the PFF mock draft simulator. They do not have a first-round pick. Traded the 2026 first-round pick in the Travis Hunter deal. And I know there's some ridiculous national narratives and people out there talking about how that was a wasted pick, all that stuff. I, for one, am really, really excited that you get to kind of put Travis Hunter now back into the picture after you lost him for the second half of the season. You get him back now. And one of the biggest pivot points and questions that we don't really know the answer to is what exactly the Jaguars are going to do with Travis Hunter. And you obviously talk about the draft. You have to talk about free agency as well. What's going to happen there? What are your team needs actually going to be once you get to the draft? Because there's a lot of impending free agents on the Jaguars roster. Some of them will stick around, some of them won't. And we don't know which ones will be there and which ones won't. So those are pieces you have to factor in when you're doing a mock draft. You have to factor in need, you have to factor in talent. Now that we kind of seemingly have a feel for what the type of people this regime is going to be looking for, which is like football diehard, like football is everything for them type of guys, team first type of guys. You can kind of start to understand what they're looking for, and maybe that can help you identify players that they would be fond of, right? So the guys over at NFL Draft Stock Exchange with the 59th pick, which is the first pick right now for the Jaguars, they went with Dominique Orange, the defensive tackle out of Iowa State. And that's a really interesting one for me. He's a nose tackle type. He's 320 plus pounds. He's big, he's physical, strong hands, great run defender, can hold up against double teams, can really destroy one-on-one blocks in the run game. I don't think he's going to be like an impact pass rusher at the next level. I think there will be flashes. But the guy I'm describing sounds a lot like Devon Hamilton, right? And Devon Hamilton is coming off an incredible year where he was the anchor, the nose of the best run defense in football. And to me, there's no argument. The Jaguars have the best run defense in the NFL right now. They do, or they did. And he was at the heart of that. So are you going to draft his replacement when he's still under contract? You're not putting those guys on the field together very often, if ever, because, I mean, they're going to be trying to fulfill the same role for you. I mean, you could be drafting him for the future, like 2027. You bring him in, you get him ready to go in 2026, and he can be your nose tackle in 2027 potentially. I get that. But at 59, with your first pick, you're going to draft a developmental role player. And I don't mean developmental in terms of like his actual ability to get on the field. I think he could get on the field in his rookie year and make an impact as a run defender. But you're not going to need that unless you cut Devon Hamilton. If you cut him pre-June 1, you're not getting anything. If you cut him post-June 1, I believe you can save a little bit. If you cut Devon Hamilton post-June 1, you could save $8 million against the cap in 2026, but that $8 million doesn't come till after June 1st. So it's not like you're getting it for that free agent time period in March. You're getting it for, yes, you could get into free agency more in the summer. That money could help you, or that cap space could help you with signing your draft class, right? But I'll tell you what, I'm not cutting Devon Hamilton right now. No way. I wouldn't. I don't think that they should. He's 28 years old. He's in his prime. He just had an insane year for you as a run defender. Camera's not wanting to be my friend today. Losing focus here. But yeah, I don't really see a world where, because again, nose tackle, it is a role-playing position. It's not like a full-time, you want them on the field all the time type of position. So drafting one of those guys that high anyways in the second round is a bit early. And then drafting one when you don't even really need one doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. So I like the player. I think he can fulfill the role that we're talking about. I do think he's a good athlete at his size. Like, I think he has some foot quickness and just explosiveness at his size that is impressive. But he's not getting Devon Hamilton off the field, and he's not going to be a primary pass rusher from the interior. So you're just talking about a Devon Hamilton replacement for the future, and I don't really see the need for that early. So to me, that would be a whiff. And look, there's going to be a lot of mock drafts out there this year where I don't agree with things. I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe Dominique Orange is the player that the Jaguars take with the 59th overall pick. That would shock me. But, I don't agree with this one. Didn't make much sense. And then the next one also doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe even more so. Now, one thing I will say, you can't just look at team need and say, well, the Jaguars are good at this position, or they're fine at this position, so they can't upgrade it. Like, that's not what you're doing. You're trying to find the best players that can make the most impact for your football team. And getting really good players can help you do that, right? But taking a safety, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, out of Toledo, who was a fun player, big-time producer, right? Has ball skills, gets his hands on the football, makes a lot of plays, good run defender, explosive. I don't know how taking a safety at 81 makes sense. So with your first two picks here, you're not taking players that can make an impact, in my opinion. Because at safety, the Jaguars have Antonio Johnson, who they want on the field. They have, obviously, Caleb Ransaw coming back from injury, who they drafted to be a starter for them in the third round last year. Missed the season with the injury. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that, but there's no reason to believe that he's not going to be able to come back and be an impact player. But then you also have Eric Murray, who's under contract for the next 2 years, 2026 and 2027. And you also have Rayon Lane. So I guess if you want to make the argument that Eric Murray is not someone that should stop you from drafting a player, I'm with that, okay? I think you want Antonio Johnson as a starter next year for sure, for the next couple years, but he's under contract. That's where I'm at. He was the highest rated safety in football this year by PFF. And then you want Caleb Ransaw on the field too. The one thing you could say about Caleb Ransaw is he's dealt with injuries throughout his career. So maybe you draft another safety because you love the player, A, and B, you're worried about Ransaw's injuries? Maybe. Seems like a reach to me, though. Not from a talent standpoint there, but just like, how does that impact your team? How does that really make you better? I don't know. Because Antonio Johnson's on the field, and Caleb Ransaw, when he's healthy, I think he's on the field. So I don't really get it. I'm looking up Caleb Ransaw's injury history. So he missed this year with the knee. And I know he had some injuries earlier in his career in college as well. So maybe that's what you could make the argument. But even then, you do have Eric Murray and Rayon Lane still. So I don't know. I like the player a lot. So I'm not saying anything negative about that part of it. But I don't know how a run defending defensive tackle and a safety is the best use of your resources here if you're the Jaguars. That's not really tracking for me. Let me know what y'all are thinking in the comment section below. Got to remind y'all, playing on Underdog is super easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. You can now make team picks on Underdog as well. Looking at Texans and Steelers in the playoffs tonight. Texans to win is what I'm looking at. And Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, lower than 204.5 passing yards. I like both of those a lot. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code Duval Daily to score $75 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Duval Daily. Underdog, make picks, win money, must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms, _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. If you're supporting them, you're supporting us. Really a awesome app. Go check it out. So, yeah, I just don't see how taking a safety and a nose tackle is really the play early on for the Jags. Even if you like the players, and I do kind of like them. I think 59 is probably a little early for Orange's role in the NFL, though. Not egregious. But now the next one, 2 more picks here, right? Seth McGowan, running back out of Kentucky. And so Liam Cohen will be plugged in with this guy's story for sure. He's still got connections at Kentucky. And Seth McGowan has a crazy story, and they talked about it. And I have the link for the episode from the NFL Draft Stock Exchange in the description below. They talked about his story, but got in trouble with the law, lost football, has had to work his way back up from like going to super small school, a little bit bigger, and then got to Kentucky. And he played his butt off this year. Really cool to see his story, and like he lost everything, had to go to jail, got charged with a felony. I think they said larceny at Oklahoma, but he's grown so much, according to Trevor Sikkema. He's like he realized what he lost and where his life was heading. He didn't think he was going to get football back, and he's kind of been just this example of redemption, being able to have that redemption story. And so I think that that's the type of person that the Jaguars could possibly get on board with, which is an exciting part of it. But then the running back as well. He's a tough runner, and I think Trevor mentioned this. Like, he reminds him a little bit of Travis Etienne, and size wise, I think some of that's there, and that some of that explosiveness, just that short area burst, so difficult to get down on the ground. He was very productive at Kentucky this year. A little bit older of a prospect, but I don't think that really matters at running back, especially not a ton of tread on the tires for him. But he was a 4-star recruit, and at Oklahoma, then got kicked out, jail, probation, all that stuff. Worked his way back and finished over at Kentucky in 2025. And good football player. Now, one thing about him, I'm not sure how the Jaguars would feel from a skill set standpoint. His hands are entirely unreliable. In 2025, he dropped 5 of 26 targets. I mean, his drop rate was over 20%. In 2024 at New Mexico State, he dropped over 10% of his targets too. So, yeah, that's a bit sketchy. That's a bit sketchy. And I haven't watched his pass pro yet, but the numbers do not suggest that he's very good in that department. Now, at running back, I mean, if you sign Travis Etienne, obviously you don't need to worry about running back on day 2. My gut tells me, and this is not insider information or anything, my gut is telling me Etienne's probably going to play somewhere else next year. I think they're going to try to keep Devin Lloyd, and I think Etienne will probably play somewhere else. But if James Gladstone follows what the Rams have been doing, I mean, the Rams have not valued off-ball linebacker at all, but they have shown that they'll sign a running back. So it could be the exact opposite of what I'm thinking is going to happen. But I'm thinking Devin Lloyd is going to be in Jacksonville next year, and Travis Etienne's not. And those are the 2 big money free agents that you're kind of thinking about a lot right now. But let's just, for argument's sake, say that Travis Etienne is not in Jacksonville. And so you're looking at a running back on day 2 of the draft because you want to supplement what you have with Bashal Tutin and LeQuint Allen. And I'm not even convinced that you need to get one on day 2, honestly, because I really do have a ton of confidence in Bashal Tutin and LeQuint Allen. Like, I would be not shocked if they feel the same way. And so they're not going to just make their decisions based off of need. They're going to try to draft players and people that they really like. So if there's a running back that they just absolutely love on day 2, I don't think that Tutin or Allen is going to stop them from making that pick. But I know they love Allen and Tutin as well. So maybe they don't even draft one until day 3 with Etienne gone. That's a possibility too. But I like Seth McGowan as a runner. I think the story is really interesting. The seemingly lack of ability to impact the game positively outside of just toting the rock could be a pretty big negative for them, for the Jaguars, in their evaluation of this player. He also doesn't, I'm not saying he can't have special teams value, but he hasn't in college been a special teams player. So those are some dings for sure on the scouting report that you got to kind of work through. I think that there might be backs that have a more complete skill set that they would like more, a more versatile skill set. And then this pick, I can't stand either. At 100, they take Isaiah World from Oregon, the offensive tackle, and this is a guy who just is not ready to play at the NFL level, in my opinion. He's had some decent games throughout his career, and he was at Nevada and then transferred to Oregon this year. But when he went up against big-time competition this year, especially down the stretch, camera went out of focus again. What are you going to do? Mondays, am I right? Camera's just not wanting to cooperate. That's okay. So, Isaiah World, he's big. He's 6'8", 300, almost 320 pounds, but he's just not a consistent player. Not a consistent player in any way, shape, or form. His hands are just all over the place, man. And Texas Tech and Indiana, two really good teams that they played the last two games, those guys made him look bad. Those guys made him look really, really bad. And an offensive lineman for me who has no baseline of fundamentals is really difficult to get excited about, even if they do have a lot of talent. That's a difficult one for me. I don't really see it. And sorry, camera again. That's before even mentioning the fact that they don't need an offensive tackle. They don't. I mean, they just signed Cole Van Lannon to be their starting left tackle. They have Anton Harrison. Walker Little is still under contract. Like, what are we doing here? If anything, they need guard. And so when I'm looking at this draft, again, a big question mark is Travis Hunter and what they're going to be doing with him. But, Greg Newsome and Buster Brown are both free agents. My gut is that Buster Brown will be back and that Greg Newsome won't be. If you're rolling Travis as a legitimate starter on both sides, I mean, great. You don't need wide receiver or cornerback necessarily. But if you're focusing more on one side than the other, my guess would be it would be cornerback over wide receiver. Travis Hunter, Buster Brown, Jarian Jones, Jordan Lewis. All right, we're good at corner. But do we feel good at receiver? I mean, love Jacoby, love Parker, Britton Strange as a receiving tight end. I think it's going to be fascinating to see how they feel about BTJ this offseason. My gut would tell me they probably try to roll with him moving forward. But do you need... Could the Jaguars have used a legitimate number one receiver yesterday? Because as much as I love Jacoby, his skill set is not that of a top 10 number one receiver in the NFL. He's going to be really good for you a lot of the time, most weeks, and in most situations, he's going to be able to get the job done. But when you need a true alpha number one receiver, he's not always going to be able to be that for you. I think he usually will, but so I think receiver is an interesting topic, especially if Travis Hunter's playing primarily corner. What's going to happen with BTJ? But man, I'd be looking at guard for sure. And I know you have Cleveland and McCary, and you drafted Wyatt Milam, and you have Jonah Monheim at center behind Robert Hainsey. So you have some depth there on the offensive line, but I think they need to find some players that can elevate what they have. This offseason was a lot about raising the floor, and they talked about that. Now I think you've raised the floor. Where do you go from there? That's kind of the question. But that'll do it. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Just kind of thought experiment going along with also taking a look at the NFL draft stock exchange 3-round mock draft for the Jaguars. So again, thank you so much. Y'all have a good one.